I came inside from doing some yard work and I got a phone call from a strange number, and it was Cole's professor. And he said, Cole's been in an accident. He said, he's still breathing, but it's bad.
Charlie and Tina Burton will never forget the morning of May 24, 2018.
At that moment, I was just frozen. I was just paralyzed, if you will.
That day, as Cole and members of his geology class searched for rocks on the side of a highway, a truck careened out of control, striking Cole.
The emotions that we felt, I think, were mainly just confusion and worry and hope that things would be okay. And we prayed before we went and before we got on the road.
Cole was life-flighted to the UAB Medical Center. When the Burtons got there, they were devastated by the news.
When the physician, along with a chaplain, came to speak to us, I knew that it was a grave situation. I knew that they were involved in a fight, if you will, a fight for Cole's life.
He was already in a coma at the time that we saw him. We didn't realize that. But just as a mother, to see your child just laying there, you want to help them.
Cole had suffered diffuse axonal injury, a condition similar to shaken baby syndrome.
It's basically where a very fast start and stop, and the brain continues to move inside the skull, and it creates a shearing type injury, and so it's multiple injuries in multiple locations.
The Burtons began contacting friends and family to pray for Cole.
My prayers at that point were not audible, intelligible prayers. They were groans, they were grunts.
So our daughter, Liva, she did create this Facebook page, Pray for Cole, just to keep people updated. And we felt the prayers of our church family, of our family, of our community.
All Charlie and Tina could do was wait.
5 days in, they told us, that no meaningful recovery and that he would probably be in a vegetative state the rest of his life. I started imagining, okay, so if this is what he's going to be like, how, as a mom, am I going to take care of him?
Cole had weaned himself off the respirator, but he started to storm, brainstorming, and that meant his heart rate was not regulated, his blood pressure, and it was almost as if Cole was running a marathon. And the doctors and the nurses said, this is not sustainable. We're going to have to put him back on the respirator. For that 3 weeks in ICU of just being on an hour-by-hour roller coaster, time kind of stood still.
The Burtons were sustained during their trial by prayer and by music.
When I couldn't pray, I would listen to music. And one of the main songs that I listened to was the song by Mercy Me, Even If. In the song, it says, it's easy to sing when there's nothing to get you down. That song became important to me because even if God chose not to heal him, that I knew Cole was going to be okay, because we knew that Cole was saved and we knew where he would spend eternity.
Strangely, we had this overwhelming sense of peace in that moment. God could have easily taken Cole at the scene of that accident, and he didn't. And we felt like if anybody had an opportunity to make it, it was Cole.
After about 3 weeks, Cole began to respond.
The nurses came running out into the waiting room and they said, he just said mom. And it's like reverting back to when they're babies and just looking and wanting to hear that first word. He had a trach and he had the feeding tube. So we still didn't know what his future would look like, but we knew that he was responding to those commands. Even though they were baby steps, they were happening.
Once he was stable, Cole was then transferred to the Shepherd Center in Atlanta for rehab.
They said, Cole doesn't have any sneakers and he needs sneakers. And I thought, well, that's kind of maybe a cruel joke because Cole, he's still not mobile, he's not verbal. And they said, no, we're going to get him up. We're going to get him moving. And that was a sense of a hope. And we were like, okay, we're in the right place.
Over the course of the next year, Cole continued to improve, exceeding all expectations. Although he has little memory of the accident, Cole remembers his time in rehab well.
The people at Shepherd Center were so amazing. and incredible in my recovery, they never showed an attitude of doubt that I would get better.
Today, Cole is back at Auburn University and is functioning at about 90% of his previous capabilities. Cole and his family are also quick to credit the power of prayer.
They told my parents that there wasn't a medical explanation for what happened. I tried to understand the brain and research so I would be knowledgeable and know what to ask when I went back to see the doctors. And they said, hey, this is a miracle of God.
Where two or more are gathered, and there were more than two, God is there and God is listening, and He heard those prayers. Our hope and our prayer through all of this and putting this on social media was not that people would see us, not that people would see Cole, but that people would see God and the power of God and what He can do when His people come together and believe and pray.